Hello and welcome to another weekly vlog. Don't worry, you won't have to look at my face this big and this close. I'm doing something new, guys. I'm going to put a screen record on here for you on Letterboxd. I just recorded this entire video, got to the end, pressed stop on the screen record and realised that I'd just pressed start on the screen record and it hadn't recorded any of it, and I just recorded this entire video after having recorded a really long true crime video, and I'm scunnered. So we're going to do it again. It might be quicker, so you might win out here with a quicker video. So let's hit record for a start. 3, 2, 1, we're recording. So to start the week off on what I watched, we had Empire of Light on Monday. A love story set in and around an old cinema on the south coast of England in the 1980s. It stars Olivia Colman. That's all I needed to know. Colin Firth's in this also. Hopefully you can see the scores down there at the bottom, what other people have rated it. I will just open up so you can have a better look there. So this follows Olivia Colman's character, who works in a cinema, a lady of a certain age, a bit disillusioned with life, not very happy with her lot in life, a bit bored. Colin Firth is her boss, not a very nice guy at all. And it covers just sort of how things were at that time in the cinema. It's really interesting. We get to see how the projectionist works and puts the reels on and switches over the reels. But a new person starts working at this cinema, and this sparks a new sort of like joie de vivre within Olivia Colman's character. It's quite unusual, it's quite strange. I did raise an eyebrow, I have to admit. But her character and her journey in this movie, and this snapshot of her life at this time, in this occupation of her, in her life, is just lovely to behold. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. I loved her character, her personality. I was completely on board for that, and I would thoroughly recommend it. I gave that one a, what did I give that one? I think I gave it a 4. Yeah, 4 out of 5 for that one, guys. Okay, so the next one I watched was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I don't think I need to talk too much about this one. Nick Cage is himself in this one. He is down and out on his luck. He's not getting the jobs he wants. He very much takes a piss out of himself. He plays himself. Pedro Pascal is a super fan that is willing to pay $1 million for Nick Cage to go visit him, to go to his birthday party. But he's got an underlying reason. He wants Nick Cage to read his screenplay that he's written and wants Nick Cage to be in it. So Nick Cage goes and all hell breaks loose. Loads of things happen. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I've seen it before, wanted my husband to watch it with me. He really enjoyed it. He laughed at it, which is quite difficult to tickle his funny bone. Really like this. I can see some people may not. If you think Nick Cage is a bit OTT, you might not enjoy it, but I love the man, so it was right up my street. My husband's walking about upstairs, if you can hear loads of creaking. On the 15th, right, this one's really interesting. I don't think I can recapture everything I said about this one earlier. Let's try again. Heaven knows what. So this is a really interesting one. This is by the Safdie brothers. Now, they did a movie that Robert Pattinson was in, and he had blonde hair in it, white hair, and I really enjoyed the movie, and I've forgotten what it's called. I'll try and put it up on screen. So this movie, Would You Forgive Me If I Die? A young heroin addict roams the streets of New York to panhandle and get her next fix, while her unstable boyfriend drifts in and out of her life at random. So let me tell you the story behind this, guys. This movie is not filmed like any other movie. It's filmed in New York on the streets. A lot of the filming of this didn't have permission, so it's filmed from a distance with long lens cameras. So a lot of what you're seeing was just playing out on the street in front of everyday commuters. I wondered how they got away with showing all these people walking about in the background. I'm not entirely sure. Now, the story was, I think one of the Safdie brothers was in New York working on the movie with Robert Pattinson in, and he met this girl and he encouraged her to write her story, which she did, and then he has changed her story into a movie, and he has allowed her to star in this movie as herself. This is not an actress, but you'd swear she is. She's fantastic. There's also a guy in this called Buddy Duress. Now, I have read he has had a lot of time in and out of prison. He's a bit of a petty criminal, but his performance was fantastic. He has a future in film if he wants to go down that route. This is not going to be for everyone. I'll just open up the people that have seen this. It'll give you an idea. I was really interested when I heard about how it was shot. When I heard it was this real girl. This is her story. It's not someone acting her, it's her. It's slow if you want loads to happen. This is just a snapshot of her life as a drug addict on the streets of New York, trying to get her next fix, dealing with her horrible boyfriend, dealing with other people that she encounters. Just life. A life that me and you perhaps would never be able to relate to, would never really understand, would never get to experience, but we do through her eyes here. I thought it was thoroughly engaging. It's quite disturbing in places. At the start, there's a scene that's a lot. It was very effective. It was extremely well done. And as I was watching, I'm thinking, oh my God, how did they do that? But yeah, I would recommend it for movie fans that want to watch something that's filmed that little bit differently, that's just different to the norm. It won't be for everyone, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's Heaven Knows What. On the same evening, I watched a movie called Outback, which I believe is on Prime. It's a 2019 movie. Based on a true story. A young American couple's Australian holiday takes a terrifying turn when they get lost in the outback. With only one another to rely on, the two are driven to extremes in order to stay alive in the harsh and unforgiving wilderness. Now, this doesn't have very high ratings. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I feel the first half is a bit weak. It is very slow to start, but I do feel the second half, especially the last half hour, are excellent. So this couple's car breaks down, they're in the middle of nowhere, they run out of food and water very quickly. It sort of like tells you how many days in we are or through the movie, and they get into a really sticky situation. Their life is at risk. We do kind of know how this is going to end purely because the guy tells a story midway through this, which is a bit unfortunate because when you hear the story and then you see their predicament, you realise where we're going to go with this. But even though it was predictable, it didn't take away my enjoyment of the movie. I still did enjoy it. So I would recommend Outback, but be prepared for it being quite slow to start with. So we've got 2 more. 65, guys. I went to the cinema to see this, finally, with my son. So, 65 million years ago, prehistoric Earth had a visitor. So we all know Adam Driver crashes on Earth from the future. Adam Driver crashes on Earth. There's only one other survivor, this little girl, and he has to try and get her to safety, and that's basically the movie. Now, I will quite happily say I would forgive an awful lot of this for watching Adam Driver. The man's perfection to look at. I can't. So I'd watch him watch paint dry, but I did really enjoy this. I thought it was engaging. I loved the action scenes. I thought the dinosaurs looked fantastic. I liked the little bits of peril. It reminded me of a Saturday afternoon movie that you'd watch with your folks, like Towering Inferno or Poseidon Adventure. That shows my age, doesn't it? That's what I was watching as a child with my parents. I'll just open up what other people thought of this one. I can understand some people were a bit disappointed by it, but most people say, oh, who's Footy Madman 007? I don't even know who that is. But there, it's not rating very high, is it? 2.5s, 1.5s with a 3, a couple of 3.5s. I rated it, I think, a 3.5. I can't remember. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. 3.5 I gave it. It filled the criteria I want it fulfilling. I didn't expect, anything massively, Oscar performance, you know what I mean? It is what it is. It's a fun movie. It's got Adam Driver in for me to look at. That had me perfectly happy. But I thought it was more about the relationship between him and the girl and her family, him and his family, what had happened to them all. So I thought it did what it said on the tin. I enjoyed it. Finally, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. So I went to see this in the cinema also. I thought it was fine. It was a typical fun superhero movie. It's not one of the best. It's certainly not one of the worst. I can understand people are a bit tired of kiddie type superhero movies. I like ones like this because I can take my son to see them in the cinema. He really enjoyed it. I really liked Helen Mirren in this. I thought the creatures were amazing in this. I won't say any more, I don't want to spoil it, but the effects were good in it. I like the overall story. Yes, of course there's holes in it. It is a bit cheesy, it's not perfect, but I don't go into a superhero movie expecting anything more than to be entertained and it to be fun. And I felt it was fun and I was entertained, so I would recommend it. 3 out of 5. It's not the best you'll ever have seen. It's most certainly not the worst either. Let's click done on this thing and hope that it's saved. Hopefully I've recorded my screen for you this time. I think it has. Happy days. So that's what I've watched this week, guys. Can I take this back a bit so you don't have to look at my bloody face that close? So the reason I've got the background like that is because I was doing a true crime case and I didn't want flippancy of pops and Funkos in the background. I thought that would be a bit, you know what I mean? I've been watching The Walking Dead. I abandoned The Walking Dead halfway through season 10 when I went on holiday in 2019. Just because I watched it every week when it was aired, I got out of the habit of watching it, and for some reason I didn't get back into it, and I've never gone back to it, but I did. So I'm now nearly at the end. I started season 10 from the beginning again to like remind myself. I'm at episode 16 of season 10. I'm really enjoying it. It's a really good season. Really wanting to see what happens, how it ends. So I've got season 11 obviously to watch, and then we have the spin-off series, so I want to get this watched so I can get into the spin-off. I don't think there's anything really else. I've been obsessing over this true crime case that I've just talked about. I've been watching an awful lot of live streams from true crime YouTubers. It's just one of these with loads of questions. I've done a video for it, so I'm going to be putting that up this week for you guys. It might take a little bit longer to work on, but there will be no comments on it, specifically because the vitriol that I've seen in other true crime YouTubers' comments from people watching is ridiculous. People will have different opinions about what happened to someone, or, you know, how a person met their end, but it's one of the reasons I stopped doing true crime. People can just be so nasty with each other, and you've got all the true crime YouTubers slagging each other off in their videos, and it's like, oh, for goodness sake. But it is a real interest of mine, and this case just intrigues me, so I wanted to share it with you guys, so that will come later this week. But the comments will be disabled for that reason, so just to let you know, just watch and enjoy, don't worry about commenting. Thank you for watching this week. I shall be back next week with another what I watched. I will try and get a little list out next week. I don't want to overload you this week with too much, so I'll leave a list for this week. I will be on a stream on Mike, did you see that, on Thursday night from 8 until 9. It's the biggest stream he's ever done. Loads of awesome people on there, changing every hour. So hope you can join us in the chat. We always have a great time chatting movies and whatever else may come up. Thanks for watching, guys. I shall hopefully see some of you on Thursday night. If not, I will see you in my next video. Over and out from Lisa Loves.